Greetings from the Eccentric Man, and something a little different. We've got a build, an unbox, or an unbox and build. Popped into Lost Ark Games in Stevenage and spoke to Steve, who was just sorting out a piece of scenery for the Games Club. And I offered to unbox it and paint it up for the club, and that's the Landseers Stevenage bolt action group. Mind you, we do other things. But yeah, so we're going to do this. This is the plastic church for 28mm wargaming. Warlord games made by Italeri. And as you can see there in Steve's store, it retails at £32. It's a pretty heavyweight box, and does look a very nice model from the outside. And so Warlord are putting it up for a 28mm, suitable for 28mm figures, and dimensions 31cm, 19cm by 23cm. As you can see, there's a little figure there. Interesting though, I've had a look on the Italeri site, and they say it's 1/72nd scale. So 1/72nd scale and 28mm doesn't match. So I'm going to get it all built up, and then we'll see what it looks like having a guide comparison next to some 28mm figures and some 20mm figures. Working in a little bit cramped confines on my computer desk, because my conservatory, where I do all my painting, is gone, and we're having a new one put up. There you can see the British weather today. Wet, cold, a nice late October day. Although we're only middle October, aren't we? Not even middle. Oh well, bodes well for winter. So yeah, it's a little bit claustrophobic on the desk. But let's have a look what we got. We got the plastic sprues, and we have 4 of them. 2, 3, 4. The base and the instructions. So let's focus in on the. So what we've got here is got some of the walls, maybe a roof, and the tower. Yeah, it's quite nice. Nicely detailed. You can't see very much flash on it at all. So, nicely produced. So the other side of the tower, other side of the church. I think that's the bit from the bell. So, yeah, little door. More towers, and the end parts of the building. Oh, and the roof of the tower. That's probably the base of the tower as well. Yep, sounds pretty good. Yeah, more bits. Oh, little chimney. And the sides, because it has an extra bit to the side. Yeah, pretty good. And then the base. Got some cobbles around the edge. Bits where you can stick it on. So yeah. Pretty good. Looks all good stuff. Maybe a little bit warped on the base, but once everything's on it, perhaps a little bit of a hairdryer should straighten it out. So let's see where we go. So I haven't used the craft glue, I've used the Contactor Professional. Got the tower put up, so 4 sides, and there's a rectangular piece that goes in, which is the bell tower base. You can just see it in that gap. Went together reasonably okay. There's connecting points for the outside piece, which is this one, this outside piece here. It's got locating lugs and holes that it goes into all the way down. The other side, there's 2 locating lugs, one for the bell tower bit and one a little bit further down, and then there isn't anything to connect it into from the base up to about there, and there's nothing on that side, and and there's nothing on this side either, from about there, sorry for the fingers, down to the base. I've not stuck it onto the base, I've just located the pins on the ground so that I know that it's sort of square and it's all gluing into place. I run some glue down on the inside line down here, a little bit tricky because it's trying to get the nozzle in of the glue. Fortunately it's got a long metal glue pipe. That worked, so just making this dry and then we'll get on to the next bit. Well, apparently the next stage is drilling out those two rectangular bits on the wall panel. So I'm going to go and find something with which to make them holes reasonably neatly. Well, I had a slight panic. I was putting this bits together, so it's 2B, 3B and 1B, and when I went to put it on the base, you can see there's no holes. There's holes over this side, and that's for 1A, but there's no holes over that side, and I was thinking, did I put the wrong one on? Because this has obviously got tabs, but nope. Whatever it was, they haven't cut through. So I'm going to have to drill those out myself, which is a bit annoying because it doesn't say it on the book, well, on the instructions. So that's going to hold me up a little bit because I wanted to put it onto it so that I got it straight, but obviously not. So back in a tick. Well, so far so good, but it does need a bit of pressure. In the words of Herbert Herberderp, it does need a bit of pressure to get the walls into place in the to click into the holes below. But it does do it, but you just need to put in a bit of pressure. So last bit, the end wall, before we start looking at the roof. So next up will be the roof, but just wanted to bring your attention to the bells. You've got the little clackers for the bells, and you've got the bells themselves, and they go into the housing, and it suggests not gluing the housing down. You see it goes on top. Hopefully it will fit. Yeah, there it goes, click, and it's in. They suggest not gluing that. However, once you've got the bells dangling down from there, if you don't glue it, you're going to break them. And whilst we're on the subject of bells, I've just spent 10 minutes trying to find them on the sprues, and unfortunately they weren't on the sprues. They had come loose off the sprues and into the plastic bag which I had discarded. So check your plastic bags just in case you throw them out. So, finished the construction of the church. The roof was a little bit tricky because it's 3 pieces and you've got the 2 main slopes and the one thin bit that runs across the top. What I did was initially glued on one piece till it was quite reasonably set, and then did the second bit, and then carefully bent it over and fitted it onto the roof. It should come off once it's dry. I'm going to leave it for a little while still, just so that the cement sets. Then I'll probably turn it upside down and then stick another run of poly cement in just to hold it. So that's the build done. Not too bad. A little bit fiddly on that roof part, and some of the sections did need a little bit of pressure to put them into the base. However, the locating lugs seem to work quite well. Very little flash on any of the parts, and what there was, I used a nail file to take it off. So yeah, not too bad at the moment. So next stage will be priming it, and then we'll look about what colours we're going to paint it up at. So I've given it a quick spray with some Humbrol acrylic spray, dark earth primer, and I've put Xandri dust on top of the top roofs, but not the bottom roofs. Got to work out how I'm going to mask that and do that. So yep, done that. I've also broken off the little cross which goes on top of that little bit on the left 4 times, and I've now lost it. So it's going to have to be an Acme make the cross next time. What I've got here is a bit of roof supports. I've put them in just to make it a bit stronger because it's going to be used at the club. So we'll do that. So yeah, that's it so far. And then just got to work out what I'm going to do for the colours. So I'll check back in once we're up and running. So a bit more work done on the church. We've put on most of the paint now and given it a bit of weathering. I think it's got to go a little bit more dry brushing. I think perhaps licensed up Iraqi sand or just Vallejo off-white. The Iraqi sand is Vallejo as well. So what have I used to paint it? Well, the main brickwork of the church, the base colour was Talarn sand from Games Workshop. That's it, Talarn sand. And that was the main coat. And then I gave it a dry brush with Carrick stone, and followed that with another dry brush of Carrick stone and a bit of Vallejo off-white. The edging bricks and the windows and the arches, that was Carrick stone mixed with Vallejo Iraqi sand and Vallejo buff. Mix that in and then put that on there, and that was lightened up by just putting a little bit more off-white in to give it a bit more contrast. So that was the main part of the church. The roof is Zandri dust with a dry brush of Iraqi sand mixed in to lighten it, and then a little bit lighter. In between the dry brushing stage, I used Army Painter light tone on it. So all of the model, the roof and the brickwork had light tone before the final highlights going on. Well, one of the final dry brushes. So that's what we've used there. The ground is just London grey, Vallejo being brought up with the sky grey. So that's got to get a little bit more lighter. And as I say, I think I'm going to have to get a little bit more lighter on the brickwork and the roofs. And I'll probably do that with Iraqi sand with a bit of off-white in it, or perhaps just very fine white, off-white. But we'll see how that goes. But that's the update so far. So here's the completed church. I've put some figures on there just to see for size comparison. But there's the budgie in the background. These are the British old infantry sprue and the paratrooper ones. So as you can see there, when you look at it on this side, the door is quite a good. It's not bad because that's the main door into the church. But when you bring it round to the side, you can see where the 1/72nd scale really does come into focus. So you can see there that the officer is quite big and would have to duck to go through the door. But saying that, once it's on a table and you're playing with it, I think you get away with it. Although it is a little bit small in scale size, as I say. 28mm, they look at their vehicles 156, and this is 1/72nd scale church. £30, pretty heavy plastic, pretty substantial. Yeah, it's a nice feature if you're happy to put up with the size difference. Hope you enjoyed the video of the church and how I put it together and painted it. So if you would give it a like, share with your friends, subscribe if you haven't. There'll be more videos coming up of builds and paints, so just got to get time to do it once my house is back to normal. Next video up is likely to be one about the Warlord GT and theming an army and how you choose the army to take. So that'll be a bit of a ramble, I would hazard a guess. But anyway, thanks very much for watching.